शुणु परवर्ती कार्यक्रम घोषणा।
This is All India Radio Qatar. Good evening, listeners. In this evening, we have a talk for you entitled "Too Many Poets, Too Few Readers." The talker is Professor Prasanna Kumar Biswal.
At the outset, let us ask ourselves a question: why do we read poetry? And the answer is very simple. We read poetry for pleasure. This pleasure is not an ordinary pleasure. It is a supreme pleasure. Sri Aurobindo called it Supreme Ananda. It is an undefinable delight. It comes out of our connect with the world, our connect with the cosmic flow. When we read poetry, we start a dialogue with our inner self. When we have a dialogue with our soul, our consciousness is heightened, our mental horizon is widened, our sensibilities are refined, our imagination is enlarged. We can say our sleeping soul becomes awake. A mood is created when we see into the life of things. We see the hidden beauty of the world. Our indifference to the world comes to an end and our self is extended. Our ego becomes zero. In this mental state of egolessness, we feel as if we are a part of the whole. We are a part of the collectivity, a part of the universal soul. Our existence is related to the existence of others. We are essential part of an orchestra called the humanity. Hence, our sympathy is aroused. Through this sympathetic mind, we try to understand the human beings, nature, society, and even God. It is usually by breaking all the differences, by breaking all the boundaries. The power of poetry acts beyond and above consciousness and will. Therefore, our selfish ego is melted. We are entranced by the melody of poetry and are transported to the other world. In that other world, everybody and everything is our own. We develop intimacy with them. Hence, this intimacy is changed into morality. We can say poetry is a power that awakens our moral self. Down the ages, poetry has contributed a lot for moral improvement of man. When virtue and morality become one, there is transformation. When this transformation is possible, our reaction to the world becomes something different. We can call this reaction ecstasy. To put it simply, it is a higher kind of response to the world. Through this higher kind of response, we trace our inner goodness. When we find this inner goodness, the pains and pleasures of others become our own. We begin to imagine intensely and comprehensively. In this process, the unfamiliar objects become familiar. The unknown world becomes known. Dullness becomes kindness. By virtue of this kindness, love is aroused in our minds. And the great secret of morality is love. Morality and love comes and soothes us. It encourages us when we are run down, makes us feel comfortable with others, relaxes and uplifts us when we are tense. We begin to love well, to live with well. It creates a shared feeling that links us with the vast ocean of humanity. In this mental condition, we sustain a hope that life can be richer, can be more enjoyable, more worthwhile, because our life has been connected with the lives of others. Therefore, we can say poetry is a force since it transforms human heart. The next question which strikes your mind is, who is a poet? Poets are exclusive group of people who possess this power of imagination, who have the ability to make us immortal. who can vibrate our soul through his words and ideas. The language of poetry is not informative, not even intellectual. The poet uses the language in an emotive and reflective manner. So, it is not possible for every man to be a poet. The ordinary man sees the world, the poet perceives the world. He has the capacity to take part in the cosmic flow, has the capacity to discover the mystery of this complex world. It has the capacity to penetrate deep into the recesses of human mind. The currents order in an orderless world. It is harmony without expression. It balances the world with knowledge and with hope. It renders the image of divinity in them. He has the magical power to inspire us to take a flight into the heaven of time. Through him, we reflect the faces with authority. It is he who acquaints us with timeless truth. But in his mind, living that present, the poet of being the present and people writing poetry is increasing, but the number of people reading poetry is decreasing alarmingly. This is not a good sign for literature in general and for poetry in particular. At present, the readers are under the impression that most of the poems lack substance. They tend to believe that writing poetry has become a pastime for some, a passion for others, a medium for self-propaganda, a mad craze to see the name in the printed words, maybe a passionate attempt to find oneself in the pages of a literary magazine or in the literary page of a newspaper. This is, we must say, bad for literature, a tragedy for the literary world. Having said this, we cannot put all blame upon the people who have been writing poetry, or say unsubstantial poetry. A sensible analysis of the decline of leadership will convince us that in the globalized world, love for literature is gradually dwindling. There was a time when literature was a passion for masses. Of course, to be truthful, there is nothing like mass literature. Literature is always read and appreciated by a select group of readers who bear the responsibility to percolate it down to the masses. This has been the case why Shakespeare, Milton, Sarala Das and Jagannath Das became the poets of the masses. To be confessional, that time is gone. We are living in a fast-changing world, a world of cutthroat competition. Everybody today is being fascinated by internet and social media and ready-made entertainment in the electronic media. Very few people find leisure to read poetry. It has become an age of materialistic pursuits. Life is being judged in terms of status, in terms of money. In such a situation, poetry is likely to lose its grandeur. When the society has become informative, there has been less urge for creativity. Some decades ago, young children took delight in reading poetry. They used to visit libraries. They used to borrow books from their friends and relatives. They had zeal for literature. Today's youth have become more aspirational and less creative, less concerned with literature. There are poetry sessions organized by various literary organizations, but these have turned out to be show-offs. There is no psychic connect of the youth with these sessions. They feel marginalized as these kinds of sessions are being dominated by established and recognized poets. We do not see many elders inspiring the young people to read poetry or to write poetry. The generation gap between the acclaimed poets and the unacclaimed ones has been causing much damage to poetry in general. Not that poetry books are not being published. Yes, they are being published only to occupy space in the racks, cupboards or bags. Most of the poetry books are not opened by the readers. This is a dangerous trend, not only for poetry, but also for the society. It is said that distaste for poetry is distaste for humanity. Therefore, friends, we have to rise up to the occasion. We must do whatever is possible on our part for the growth of readership in poetry. The teachers of literature must inculcate literary values in the mind of the students. They have to know that poetry elevates and enriches the inner realm of their life. Through poetry, they can realize their highest potential. Encouragement must come from the senior poets, who are the keepers of literary conscience.
You have just listened to a talk entitled Too Many Poets, Too Few Readers. The talker was Professor Prashant Kumar Biswal. Please stand by for our next announcement in audio in a short while from now.